Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
Hi, my name is Mark Staffa, and this is my model of the Union Pacific Big Boy number 4014. It took me about 6 years to build. I'm estimating about 300,000 pieces in it. It started off with the driver wheels, the larger wheels that actually drive the train. I had a previous model, Westin Hotel based in Atlanta, and it's the same geometry. It's using the 2x2 hinges. And just it comes out to about a 30 stud diameter. And from that, I scaled the whole engine. I didn't know what the scale was going to be when I started, but it ends up being 1/7 scale to the real engine. I originally intended it to finish within a year because this is a model that's Union Pacific actually restored, and they finished theirs in 2019. I way overshot my build timeline. I thought I could do it in a year. I didn't do it in a year. So that's...
Yeah. So this thing is so massive. How long is this whole thing?
Train is on 19 feet, and it's on 22 feet of track.
Yeah, that's incredible. So what's the process then like as you're building this? Is this all just set up in your house? Like having this much space to even work on something like this?
Yeah, well, I have a sizable house. It was in the living room and foyer. You did have to walk around it to get to the bathroom. But yeah, once I had there's a wood frame underneath the tablecloth that actually supports it because there's a lot of bowing would happen and did happen. Then it's paused and had build frame. But once that happened, it didn't move, and that was about 3 years ago. But I would just work on different chunks. MLCAD, LDRAW were lifesavers to build stuff before actually getting the pieces, because you can get the part counts and things like that to then order and build it.
So you would do a lot of work digitally before getting the physical bricks?
Yeah, I would. I did have a lot of parts on hand, so I could have something in hand to kind of work through and then model it, find the parts, and then order the parts. But I actually had T-squares on a laptop. I had side views of the train so I could actually get scales and what lines up to what and build it out. Tried to do some playability, I guess, if you will, for a large-scale model like this. Just some functionality. We can start at the front if you want. There's the couplers will actually couple and uncouple. I guess we're on video, too. They'll couple. If another coupler is coming in, then they'll uncouple from the sides. There's steps to get up to the sand domes. There is plans for future additions. There are motors built into the drive wheels right now. There isn't movement, but they are free to spin.
Oh, very impressive.
So hopefully that'll get motorized down the road. What else we got? There's another set of steps up there. The windows will slide, fully retract and come out. Toolboxes will open. Yeah, the vent hood will open. It's just kind of statically open now. The doors in the back of the cab will open, but there's not really a great amount of clearance in there. Water hatches will open and fall off. But they'll open and close. And then the rear coupler will do the same thing. It'll click in and you can release it from the side so the workmen don't get in between a train and get crushed if there's any kind of accident. They can actually do it from the side. So that's
really neat that even at this scale you build in some of those kind of more fun play features.
Well, at this scale you feel like you almost need to, just because it would be a very blank slate. And with the tender being a blank slate, I actually did all the rivets. So any time you see a Lego stud, there's a purpose for it. It's either texture on like walking beds or the rivets on the side. I don't know if you need like a good light to see at an angle, but that rivet pattern is the rivet pattern, and almost the same number of rivets that should be on the real train. So yeah, it was a labor of love.
So as we move back towards the front, you mentioned kind of starting with the wheels there, and we saw a little bit of how it can actually move. What were some of the other design features here? Because you said you spent, 6 years right on this? So over the years there, as this kind of came together, how did some of the rest of it come together for you?
It was actually surprisingly straightforward. I did not have to do much backtracking, like as you get too far and then scale is weird or anything like that. So I was very fortunate to do that. Maybe a lot of the little hands-on working through, but finding all the different radius of the tubes, different pipes had different tube dimensions. It's just working through a lot of slopes and curves and everything. Yeah, it's just work through each little piece. You just kind of focus on that, work through that, and then move to another piece. So.
What is the structure like in these round sections on the top part here?
It is all 2x2 brick. So there's 2x2 hinge brick in there. So we just see the outside of all that. There's the 2x2, or 1x2, I'm sorry. 1x2 hinge, 1x2 brick, 1x2 with the pin on the side centered. And that has Technic beam reinforcing all the way through. There's 5 sections on the top boiler that come apart, 2 on the bottom. But then there's some ribbing every 5 inches or so that kind of goes from the radius and diameter of the boiler is actually scaled from the wheel, the large wheel, and the small wheel is scaled from the large wheel. So they're all congruent to each other, I guess. So there's an internal wheel in there that's the same as the driver that I'm reinforced to. So there's actually 2 circles worth if you look down the center when it's all opened up.
How does this move then when you're transporting it to an event like this? I think you said this is the first time you've had it on display, right?
It's the first time it's been out of the house on display. I have wood crates I built, 6 wood crates, a lot of totes, a lot of foam padding. It did get broken down and put in the trailer one time just for a dry run, so to speak, see what works, what didn't work. Some things got reevaluated in packing and everything, so this was for the dry run. So yeah, it made it. There was a couple of minor things that got broken, but wasn't too catastrophic. Able to be rebuilt, and it was set up in about 5 hours at this show. So
there you go. Not bad for a build of this size. So tell me a little bit more about the history of this train and why you chose this as such a long-term passion project to build out of Lego.
Well, the real version of this, the Union Pacific 4014, Union Pacific took and restored the original model. They were finishing their completion in 2019, and that's why I might be able to build a train. And I wanted to do a large-scale train. There have been a few out there that you see, and like really not knowing it was going to be this big, but I wanted to do something bigger or on scale with those. And if you're going to go big, you may as well do the largest engine and not kind of halfway through or something. So it's one of the biggest engines, and that's another area of debate. They were looking to restore this one, and I was trying to time it within a year. I started in 2018. Like, I could build it in a year. I couldn't build it in a year. So that's what inspired this engine, but we'll see where it goes from here. I'd like to see it side by side to the real one. That'd be somewhere down the road, hopefully.
That would be spectacular. Another thing that catches your eye when you look at this is the color scheme, which of course is very heavy in black and gray. With having that large a quantity of parts in one color, what were the challenges with that as this build came together?
I did want to try to throw in as much off-color or complementary colors as possible. Obviously, it's 90%, 95% black or so. So the things like the lights on the marker lights, the bell, the whistles, the valves, the interior of the cab is three shades of Lego greens. One of the other pieces, this model, or the actual engine when it was on display, and since it's been restored, never had white wheel painting. So I did that to kind of offset or show some contrast, so it broke up the black that much more. Yes, because I knew it was going to be a whole lot of black. A lot. So yeah, I did what I could. Took advantage of where there were color choices I could make, but it is kind of what it is, and that's. But
Would you ever tackle additional train cars or adding any more to it, or is this about as big as you want to go?
I have given it some thought. One or two. Also, showing at a show, I don't know what kind of space would accommodate 2 more tables worth. But just even last night, I was thinking I could do a flatbed with Lego size train or something, because when you just see a picture of it, you can't really grasp the scale it is. Once people are around it, or once you hold something else up to it, then you see how large it is. But have like a little train running on a layout on a flatbed that it's pulling, or a caboose or something. So it's the start and the finish, just real quick, nothing crazy long. And maybe that I can do in a year. I don't know. We'll see.
No, that's a really fun idea, because like you said, that is always a struggle with these types of builds, is just understanding kind of the epic scale of what you've done here until you see it in person. But this is really amazing work. Do you have plans to display this at any other shows throughout the year?
Yes, it's going to be up in Brick Fair, Fredericksburg, Brick Fair, Virginia in August. Hopefully Brick World, Chicago. The Brick Fan Expo in Tampa, also in August. Beyond that, maybe. There's probably going to be more. So, but those are definites at this point.
Sounds good. So if people want to see this in person, there are a few different opportunities you have throughout the year. But thank you so much for all the work you put into this model and for bringing it out to the show here. I appreciate you taking us through it.
No problem. Thank you.